Hank! No! Hank, don't queue up! Don't queue up before watching this video, Hank. You gotta watch this in order to not get Hearthstone Gold 4 again with MMR drier than goddamn cement. Here's everything you need to know about Season 16 before queuing up your first rank game. First Blood and First Turret yield more money again. First Blood is plus 100 and First Turret is plus 300. So the number one thing to do to climb is very simple at the start. Never die first, never give your turret first. It's not about getting them, it's about not giving them. That's the highest percent play you can do. Every role has their unique quest and the game is generally much faster and bloodier, which means being stable is being rewarded disproportionately more. In order to have efficient quests, everyone will be busy with their own sides, so less skirmishes, less roams, and more 1v1 lanes. If you mess up, enemies will get rewarded more and nobody will be there to bail you out. Okay, winning is good, not losing is even better. Baron spawns at 20 minutes now, 5 minutes earlier than before. Ataka has been removed and the tier 3 or inhibitor turrets are now tankier. Baron will now be the best way to close out an equal game. In terms of throwing potential and comebacks, Baron will be the new Atakan. If you start it, make sure you can do it. Don't forget to ward at 20 minutes and always punish enemies when they're doing it. Objectives generally take a bit longer now. Another thing that speeds up the game is turret rust. Okay, over time it accumulates on the turrets and you gotta touch them to break the rust and get extra bonus damage. The rust, I've referenced before that it makes the game a little bit turn-based. That means that the constant siege gets diminished returns. So if you're the only person that can reach the enemy turret and actually break the rust, okay, you're the only one who can generate net positive tempo, you should be alternating between sides ideally. You want to siege on one side, get the top lane, clean the rust off, and then make sure not to lose your rust, create good tempo, and then pivot to the other side so you can break the rust again. That way you're higher efficiency. If you're ahead, the same principle applies like before. Breaking plates and rust is good, denying enemies from touching your rust is even better. That is the number one way to get the stability and increase your win chance. Principle of stability and consistency is just gonna skyrocket your win rate. Overall, there's less time to do rotations now in skirmishes. Early game, that's due to the quests, which everyone will be too busy playing in their own little pockets to get the maximum efficiency on the quest, and later due to more frequent minions. Okay, at 14 minutes, when quests are usually completed, minions will spawn every 25 seconds instead of 30, and at 30 minutes every 20 seconds. Okay, every cannon wave is gonna have a little bit less minions, but basically the game is gonna be about this continuous control of waves and pressure. It's gonna be really fast. Outpushing your enemies is going to be super important. Rotations are going to be more costly. Only rotate when it's absolutely necessary. Conversely, when you're behind, be as annoying as possible. Best way to make a comeback is just to catch the enemies, catch them out of tempo, and break their sides. Reach the enemy turret. So every time they try to rotate if you're behind, just constantly push and bounce it all the way. Home guards will now lead you to the furthest minion wave instead of a fixed distance. That also speeds up the game, meaning more emphasis on controlling and outpushing the waves. More tempo and pressure you have, you will conserve even more tempo and pressure after the recall. League will be very selfish and bloody this season, with more emphasis on single player duels and wave control. Minions will be spawning way earlier now, 30 seconds earlier, so don't sleep. Losing ground early can set you really behind and you don't get to play anymore. Remake timer and early surrender are moved 35 seconds earlier, now that we will ever surrender anyway. Turrets are healthier, but they take more damage overall from minions and champs, so it's a bit of a balancing act there, but generally the game should speed up except for inhibitor turrets, which are a bit harder to break. This is where a lot of key defenses and comebacks will be made. A lot of games will be flipped because of precisely of inhibitor turrets being a little bit more tanky. So having a good wave clear champs is going to be very good for extending that game and allowing enemies more chances to mess up. Also, Nexus turrets now respawn at 40% instead of 100%, which is kind of weakish, and your base is gonna just be porous when it respawns. Okay, let's go into the quick overview of the individual role quests and what they do for you. So top lane gets extra experience and goes to level 20, so catching waves correctly in scaling is rewarded, especially in champs with good level scalings. For jungle, people underestimate the quest as it's too similar to the last year, so they assume it's just nothing, but the jungle will still be and remain the highest impact role in the game. You get to put pressure and change the scales of the fight wherever you choose, so choose carefully. Since lane duels matter way more now and the game is more snowbally, if you manage to break just one lane and completely set it off in a snowballing fashion, you're just gonna be hard winning there. It's a mega advantage. advantage. Also, junglers are highly efficient now with the extra 8% bonus move speed in the jungle, and they also benefit in a secret way from the minion tempo home guards push. So if you're pathing to the jungle, make sure you optimize your pathing in a way where you're following the speedy line of minions and then you pivot into the jungle. Mid lane is now all about control and tempo even more. Boots will unlock a better cheat recall and allow you to pressure. Good wave clears and mobility is what you want in your mid laners right now. Also, mid lane gets tier 3 boots. So the defensive ones are a little bit on the weaker side, the boots, while Sorc Shoes, Lucidities, and Swifties remain really good. AD Carry Quest gives you a bit of bonus gold on everything, and a 7th item. Best thing you can do on AD Carry is, guess what? Not die, because enemies will outpace you with the bonuses stacking up. A lot of people also think you will never reach the 7 items, so it's not that relevant, and it's like the worst role quest, but I disagree, and not because of the 7th item in the late game. I think the bigger value is actually having that extra slot compared to the extra potential item in like 2% of games or even less. Having an extra slot will be hugely valuable because usually in mid games you don't really choose when to fight. It's the objectives that dictate the fighting, and you'll have very fixed schedule on when you're supposed to fight, so you're gonna get much more efficient recalls. You will not be skipping that longsword, you will not be skipping that pickaxe, you will not be skipping that recurve bow or vamp scepter, so you will get much more efficient recalls right before major objectives is exactly when you need it. Support remains mostly the same, except they get cheaper control wards and a dedicated slot for them. Same value applies in the mid to late game, where item slots get a little bit cluttered for support, so you will no longer be capped by that. You can get much more efficient recalls. That's going to be decent value. Also for the pink wards, my recommendation is not to buy them early game almost at all unless they're absolutely necessary. You want to go for that 1 to 2 item spikes, and as soon as you get the control ward quest, you start spamming them because they're very cheap and you need them for the objectives. Keep in mind there's less objectives due to lack of attack, so you want to concentrate. So every time there's a dragon fight, you need to have 2 pink wards. Also, we got the new Phalite ward spots. They're crucial for controlling the map. These are like ward pedestals which extend your vision when you place your ward on them. So how to use them? You need to figure out essentially where the enemy jungler is starting. That's what the game is all about even now, but it's going to be even more so in the future. Okay, so you need to know where the enemy jungler is starting, and then use the Phalite locations to scout when they should be approaching. Okay, one key thing to note is that the jungle is now going to be 30 seconds sped up, as is everything else. So the timers for full clearing crab won't be 3:30 plus, it will be more closer to 3 minutes. As soon as the game is approaching minute number 3, you should really be careful of a full clear camp crab gank, or at about 2 minutes you should be very careful about 1 quadrant of clear and then an early gank. Also, one key thing to remember here is that the jungle camps will spawn a bit earlier than before, whereas the main objectives will spawn at the exact same time like before. So the dragon will remain 5 minutes, even though the jungle will spawn much sooner, which means that the both junglers will be perfectly on time for the dragon if they do 2 full clears and a single crab. And now they decide they're doing the second crab for the level 6, or they're going to be doing the dragon for level 6. So you really got to keep that in mind, and this also helps you with the tracking, because even with a tiny sliver of information in early game, you will be able to predict where the junglers will be on minutes 3 and minutes 5 based on the Phalite, and you just have to use them slightly before these timers. And that's going to be all the information you really need for the jungle in this early game. It's going to help you tremendously track it and help your game. Now, outside the game, the meta game, as we said, almost every change serves to speed up the game. Okay, what happens if the game speeds up? Games are faster, more snowbally, people are more toxic, people lose because they're quitting more often, surrender vote becomes more frequent. So what is well rewarded in that scenario? Being the sole person that doesn't surrender. In an evolutionary stable system where everybody surrenders, the guy who doesn't surrender gets rewarded disproportionately. So if you just press no and one other person in your team presses no and you have like a 5% chance to win, you do that enough times, you're just gonna get tremendous LP advantage over everybody else. The game is speeding up, everyone will be quitting, don't fall for it, be a rook, win the game, play well, and carry the team. Yeah, that's all you need to know about Season 16 before queuing up your rank. I'm about to queue up right now. You can watch my climb, ask me anything during them, and yeah, see you. Bye.